Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you've been here, my name is Scott and I'm planning my first computer build. So if you want to follow along, make sure to subscribe. I don't know too much about computers, just what I've been, reading and watching on YouTube since October of last year. So I don't know all the numbers, the ins and outs of all the parts of the computers, specific motherboard or the RAM or GPU, but I do have just a general overview from what I've been watching. And so this is a realistic first time planning build that I'm trying to do. And if you look on the right side of the screen, I have my little spreadsheet out. Everything that's highlighted in green I've purchased. So just to put a time reference on it, today is February 8th and I bought my first parts of December 20th of last year. I had some extra Christmas money, and the first two parts I bought were the tower and the CPU, and both of those costs right there include tax. The 2700X, it was on sale for $159.99, and it looked like it was half off, and I pulled the trigger on that. And since then, over the last 2 months since my first purchase, you can see I've purchased the RAM, which I purchased yesterday, the power supply, my boot drive, the 500 gigabyte 970 Evo, and mass storage drive, 2 terabyte mechanical drive. I told myself I'm going to try and stay in this $1,000 price range. I'm going over it, and I'd probably go over $1,100 because the last two parts I need to order, the main parts I say, are the GPU and the motherboard. So I don't, as far as the GPU, I have the 1660 Ti there for $279, but a couple weeks ago the RX 5700 was for $299. I plugged that in, but now that's gone away, and now the cheapest one you get I think is $320 or $319 to $339, so that's an extra $40 to $60. I just don't know if I want to spend that much on a GPU, but in the end, as with all things, I probably will, because I think I'm limiting this build if I stick with the 1660 Ti. So maybe the 5700 XT seems a little bit out of my price range, closer to that $400 range. But then there's also the RX 2060 that I've been looking at. And so I have those decisions to make within the next couple of weeks. So hopefully I can get the last two parts within the next 14 to 21 days, depending on my paycheck cycle from my real job, my day job. And also the tower that I purchased, it has a couple fans, but I need to order some fans, so you're probably thinking $20 to $40 more just to get some fans. I'm probably going to do the RBG fans just for a little bit of flash there. But over the last 2 months, the more you learn about picking out the parts for your computer, the parts that I bought, you think, oh my god, I overspent, or I really don't need that. And talking about what I overspent on is when I bought this Samsung boot drive, the NVMe drive. It's super duper fast, but in all likelihood I probably could have bought a 120 gigabyte boot drive, an SSD for what, $25, and saved almost $75 on that, because I probably wouldn't know the difference anyway. I'm not necessarily a gamer. I play a few games, but I think for this build I'm more of a enthusiast. I just for the first time I want to put something together, so I spent a few extra bucks and I did get that. So if I was planning a $1,000 build, I would have come way under if I would have just bought a cheap, like ADATA, even 240 gigabyte boot drive for whatever, 35, 40 bucks. The mechanical drive, at 60 bucks, I probably could have even saved more. I bought it, I don't know, a month ago, $59.25 including tax. I don't really need a 2 terabytes of space. I'm that guy that takes some pictures and some videos. I do some light video editing. So even 2 terabytes right now is an overkill for me. I probably could have gotten away with a 1 terabyte for around $40. So that's $20, you know, I've probably overspent. The RAM though, in my current rig, I do have 32 gigabytes of RAM, and previously I for this build I'm doing, I know I just needed 16 gigabytes of RAM, but I always wanted more RAM. So yesterday I did pull the trigger on the on some RAM, 32 gigabytes of RAM, the 2x16 package. It's my first purchase ever from NewEGG, and it's the, you can see it here on the left. It's the DDR4 at 3.2 megahertz to 3200. And so I should be able to overclock that even just a little bit without having to tweak anything else. So I got that, and in my brain, why, if I'm going to get that, I might as well get make it 64 gigs of RAM just to pump it up. I don't need it, but in the future I probably will order the extra 32 gigs and fill it up. The motherboard, you know, reading all the reviews and on Amazon and reading all the questions and answers about Ryzen, this seems to be the right motherboard, but again, you know, 132 bucks. I might pump that up to, I think it's the X570, but I don't know. This seems to be good enough for me. Like I said, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm not a hardcore video editor. I guess I'm just falling in line more of an enthusiast. So I could have done this build for a lot less and focused more money on my GPU, but you live and learn. So now I'm spending this extra money just to have this new setup as my main rig. So anyways, I'm trying to conclude this video. In the end, I'll probably save up for a better GPU, the 5700 or the 5700 XT, or somewhere, you know, the 2060 or 2060 Super, I believe it is, or something higher, closer to that $350 to $400 range. But I'm going to order the last two parts together, the motherboard and the GPU, so that when I do start, I have that window of return in case anything's goofy with the motherboard or with the GPU. So just another update. I bought the RAM and I'm getting closer and closer to starting my own build. For me, this is a realistic way. I think it's a realistic way for everybody out there who's just a normal guy or gal trying to save up their money, you know, from each paycheck and ordering a part or two at a time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure to subscribe if you want to follow this journey when I do finally start to build this thing. See you later.